Welcome to the Business Finance Bulletin, episode 128, a Brexit Special. Into the latest Business Finance Bulletin with me, Rob Warlow from Business Loan Services, the commercial finance experts. Well, what else could this episode be but a Brexit special? Yes, on Friday the 24th of June, the UK public woke up to realise that they had voted to exit the EU. Now, depending on which side of the argument you are, the positive or negative, the in or out, this is going to have an impact for UK businesses, both small and large. So in this special bulletin, I'm going to be looking from the small business owner's perspective. What is the impact? And more importantly, what actions can you take to limit any downside? Let's start the bulletin then by taking a look at the impact that a potential exit from the EU can have upon you and your business. Now, I see that there are two headline impacts. First of all, there's the political impact. And as I record this, certainly the political fallout is dominating more than its fair share of newspaper space at the moment. But there's also another impact, and that's the one I want to focus on, is the economic impact. How is this going to hurt you and your business? Well, I see that there are three things that could potentially affect you. Number one, investment plans for small businesses. Now, over the last couple of bulletins, I had shared research which did show that on the leads up to the referendum, many businesses were already just taking stock of their investment plans, just being cautious. And, well, now that the result is out, it's clear that many businesses are critically examining their future investment plans. How does that impact you? Well, if you're a supplier to businesses, particularly in terms of plant and machinery, software and hardware, it's possible that you may see a softening in your order book over the next 6 months or so as businesses wait for confidence to return to the market, or they have some clarity on what's going on. The second impact is consumer confidence. So if you're a B2C or business to consumer business, then as we know, any period of uncertainty can lead to consumers keeping their wallets and purses in their pockets and handbags. They don't want to spend. Consumers hate uncertainty. And in fact, that's already beginning to pan out. Research just out in the last few days from YouGov showed that consumer confidence has already taken a hit. It's on the way down. So you need to be prepared for that. The third impact is that on margins. Now, as we know, there's been a lot of movements in the currency market, and this can impact directly or indirectly on your margins. Now, first of all, if you're an exporter into Europe or the States, the currency movement have been to your benefit because your goods are cheaper. But if you're an importer, then your margins have taken a direct hit because of the changes in the currency. And also, you could be impacted by your suppliers perhaps putting their prices up. So if you're faced with higher prices, either because your material costs have gone up or your suppliers have put their prices up, your dilemma is, do you pass that price increase on to your customers? So there are three initial impacts: investment plans, consumer confidence, and margins. Knowing that, what are your actions in order to make sure you don't get hit? Having looked at the potential impacts on your business, let's now take a look at something a bit more positive. What actions can you take in order to mitigate those potential risks that you're going to be facing? Well, first of all, I mentioned the first impact was about investment plans, and the first action that you can do is, of course, to review your own investment plans. Now, we've got to make sure here that we don't talk ourselves into a recession, but it is only right when we're in a period of uncertainty that you do review your own investment plans. Put out on the table all of the things that you would like to achieve over the next 12 months in terms of purchases of plant and equipment and machinery and other investments that you want to make, and categorize them into nice to haves and must haves. The nice to haves, are they exactly that? It would be nice to have them, but not totally essential. Could you quite easily delay those investments for a couple of months until you're a little bit more certain about how the economy is looking for you and your business? The other one then, the must-haves, I really would urge you, if it is a must-have, have the courage to continue making those investments, because in the short to medium term, the economy will pick back up again as more confidence returns. And you don't want to be behind the curve when confidence returns and then you're scrambling around to keep up with your competitors. So if you do have must-have investments, have the courage, carry on with that. The second action you can take, just review your financial arrangements. Just make sure that you've got everything in place in terms of finance that you're needing for your business. I've spoken to a couple of bankers this week, and one thing that's already starting to happen is that consumers and borrowers are beginning to look at their interest rates. Now, as we know, when you take out a commercial mortgage, for example, you can have a variable interest rate or a fixed interest rate. Well, many businesses are now beginning to ask to see if they convert their mortgages from variable rates to fixed rates, because interest rates are so low at the moment, and the chances are that the rates may even come down further, that now is a great time to look at fixing your interest rates. So if you are on a variable rate commercial mortgage and you've got quite a high figure, go and have a chat with the bank to see what you can do. Also, have you got the right overdraft limits in place and the right lines of credit generally with your suppliers? Just make sure everything is up to date and all your suppliers are on board with your plans. Next action is that about forward planning. If you know now what the horizon is looking like for you, sit down and plan ahead. Run a cash flow forecast. Just do some sensitivity on where you think your orders are going to come from. Are there any changes that you need to make to your business in response to the things that are happening in the marketplace? So sit down and plan ahead. The next action, review your prices. I mentioned one of the impacts could be an impact on margins. Well, you've got two choices here. Either you can absorb that hit and take it on the chin yourself, or you can pass it on to your customers to make sure that you don't take a profit hit. And the way you do that, obviously, just sit down again, re-examine your plans and your profits. You may be able to absorb a hit to margin for a couple of months, but probably if it's going to last into the short to medium term, probably best to take the hit and start planning ahead to increase your prices. And the last thing that you can do, it's a good opportunity as well when we have a wake-up call like this to review your overheads. Have a good look at where your money is going. Because during good times, and we have been in quite good times over the last 2 years or so, it's so easy to get complacent where overheads are concerned. I can guarantee you, if I asked you to come to my office and bring with you 6 months of bank statements, and we sat down and looked at those bank statements line by line and looked at every standing order and every direct debit that was going through your account, there would be some of them where A, you don't even know what they are for, or B, even if you did know what they are, you may happen to say, well, I'm not quite sure what the value of that is anymore. So for example, are you subscribing to old magazines that you don't actually read anymore? Trade associations that don't do an awful lot for you? Just general costs where you actually think, do you know what? I actually don't need that overhead. In times like this, you need to be ruthless. So have a good, heavy clear out of everything to make sure that your bottom line doesn't take a hit. So there we are, some actions there that you can take to make sure that you don't get hit by the referendum outcome. Here we are at the end of the bulletin, and we've taken a look at the Brexit impacts and also the actions that you can take in order to future-proof your business. So I suggest you re-watch or re-listen to this podcast. If you're listening on the podcast version, take a pen and paper and just jot some ideas down. What can you do to make sure that you secure the future of your business? Take a day off perhaps, go somewhere else and just brainstorm some ideas on what actions that you can take. So that's it for this week, and we'll be back with normal bulletins next week, although I do suspect that Brexit and its fallout will feature quite heavily over the next couple of months. So that's it for this week. Thank you very much for being with me. I look forward to being with you in the next bulletin. Have a great, successful and profitable week. Bye-bye now.